Have you ever felt like you've made such a big mistake that there's no going back? Like you've wandered so far off the path that you can't find your way home? If so, you're not alone. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful and moving stories ever told, the parable of the prodigal son from the Gospel of Luke. This isn't just an ancient tale. It's a story about messing up, about feeling lost, and most importantly, about the incredible power of forgiveness and unconditional love. It's a story that speaks directly to the heart, no matter where you are in your life. The story begins with a father who has two sons. The younger one, full of a desire for independence and adventure, goes to his father and makes a shocking request. He says, "Father, give me the share of the estate that is coming to me." Now, let's pause here. In that culture, this was a massive insult. It was essentially like saying, "Dad, I wish you were already gone. I just want my inheritance now." It was a complete rejection of his father's authority, his love, and his place in the family. But what does the father do? He doesn't argue. He doesn't lecture him. He respects his son's choice, divides the property, and gives the younger son his share. The son then packs his bags, travels to a distant country, and as the scripture says, he squandered his wealth in wild living. He threw huge parties, spent money without a second thought, and lived for the moment. He was finally free, living the life he thought he always wanted, with no rules and no one to answer to. He was the master of his own destiny. Or so he thought. The party, however, couldn't last forever. A severe famine hits the land, and suddenly the money runs out. The friends who were so happy to celebrate with him are nowhere to be found. He's alone, broke, and desperate. His situation becomes so dire that he hires himself out to a local citizen who sends him into his fields to feed pigs. For a Jewish man, this was the ultimate humiliation. Pigs were considered unclean animals, and to be so hungry that you're envying the pods they eat, it was rock bottom. It's here, in the mud and the filth of the pigsty, that the scripture says, "He came to his senses." It's a powerful moment of clarity. He realizes how foolish he's been. He thinks, "How many of my father's hired servants have more than enough bread? But here I am, dying of hunger." He finally sees the truth. The freedom he chased led him to slavery and starvation, while the home he rejected was a place of abundance and security. In his despair, a glimmer of hope sparks. He decides to go back. He rehearses a speech in his mind. "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants." Notice the shift in his heart. He's no longer the arrogant son demanding his rights. He's humbled, aware of his wrongdoing, and willing to accept any position, even that of a servant, just to be back in his father's household. He doesn't expect to be welcomed as a son. He just hopes for mercy. So, with this small, fragile hope, he gets up and begins the long journey home. Now, this is where the story takes a breathtaking turn. While the son is still a long way off, his father sees him. Think about that. The father must have been watching, scanning the horizon day after day, hoping and waiting for his son to return. He doesn't wait for his son to arrive and give his rehearsed apology. The moment he sees him, he is filled with compassion. He doesn't just walk to him, he runs. He throws his arms around his son and kisses him. All the hurt, the rejection, the worry, it all melts away in this incredible act of love. The son starts his practiced speech, "Father, I have sinned." But the father barely lets him finish. He's not interested in the confession as much as he is in celebrating his son's return. He turns to his servants and commands them, "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." The robe, the ring, the sandals, these weren't just random gifts. They were symbols that restored his full status as a son. The best robe was a sign of honor. The ring signified authority and belonging to the family. The sandals showed he was a free man, not a servant who would go barefoot. The father wasn't just forgiving him, he was restoring him completely, without reservation. The past was forgotten, and all that mattered was that his beloved son was home. The celebration wasn't just for the son, it was for the father's joyful heart. But the story doesn't end there. There's another character, the older brother. He was out working in the field, being the responsible, dutiful son. When he comes near the house, he hears music and dancing. He asks a servant what's going on and is told, "Your brother has come home, and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound." And the older brother becomes angry. He refuses to go inside. His father comes out and pleads with him, but the older son is filled with bitterness. He says, "Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders, yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours who has squandered your property comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him." He sees himself as a slave, not a son. He's focused on fairness, on earning his father's love through his own obedience. He can't understand the grace being shown to his brother because he's blinded by his own sense of self-righteousness. The father's response to him is just as loving and patient as it was to the younger son. He says, "My son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. Ah, but we had to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." The father reminds him of his position, his inheritance, and invites him to share in the joy. He invites him to see his brother not as a rival, but as a brother who was lost and has now been found. The story ends here, leaving us to wonder, did the older brother go inside? This parable is a beautiful picture of God's relationship with us. We are all like one of these sons. Sometimes we're the younger son, running away from God, chasing worldly pleasures only to find ourselves empty and lost. But the message is clear. No matter how far you've gone or what you've done, the Father is always watching, waiting with open arms to welcome you home. His forgiveness isn't based on our worthiness. It's based on his incredible, unconditional love. He doesn't just forgive, he restores and celebrates. And sometimes we can be like the older son. We can be doing all the right things, but our hearts can become filled with pride and judgment. We can forget that our relationship with God is based on grace, not on our performance. We can resent the mercy shown to others because we feel we've earned our place. The Father's heart is for both sons to be in the house, celebrating together. He wants us to have hearts filled with the same grace and compassion that he shows us. So, which son are you today? Are you feeling lost and far from home? Know that the Father is running toward you, ready to embrace you. Or are you feeling a bit like the older brother, struggling with judgment or pride? Know that the Father invites you into the party, to share in the joy of redemption. This timeless story reminds us that the heart of God is a home and the door is always open. Thank you so much for joining me today to explore this incredible parable. I hope it has encouraged you. If this message resonated with you, please give this video a thumbs up, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next video. Until next time, take care.